Hello, good evening and welcome, eventually, finally, to In the Know, brought to you by the Racing Post and Coral. We've got a big weekend ahead of us, and given that one of the cars is coming from Sandown, we thought we'd come a little bit slightly past post time. But we are here, we're ready and raring to go. We've got an absolutely corking 2 days of racing, National Hunt and Flat as well. You can get black type at Lingfield, you can get Grade 1 races at Leopardstown. Musselburgh's a cracking card as well. We've got Sandown, Wetherby, you name it. We've got pretty much everything you would ever want from a National Hunt weekend in the winter. We, on this evening's show, are going to be previewing 5 from Sandown and 5 from Leopardstown. If we were going to do all the top races this weekend, well, we'd still be going by this time next week, which might be good for some of you. I'm sure some of you have got opinions in every single race, but we'll just be sticking to 10 of the best. As ever, my name is Ross Brierley. This is live and interactive, and people already absolutely livid that they've logged on at 6. And we are 10 minutes late. But we've got David Stevens joining us from Coral. The reason we're struggling a bit tonight is due to technical difficulties because, quite frankly, despite the fact that I probably live the furthest away from everyone in terms of the Racing Post studio, I'm the only one that's come in. So good evening to you, David.
Good evening, Ross. Good evening, everyone. They can put a man on the moon, but they can't put 3 of us on Skype just yet. But I'm confident that those great guys at the Racing Post will get this sorted in the next few weeks anyway, at least. But yeah, listen, it is a cracking card, as you've said, Ross. We can only cover a fraction of it. Hopefully we've picked out some of the best for you. Cheltenham last weekend was brilliant with 9 races, but I think this weekend could even top that. So I know you've got the 2 great guys lined up, so I won't keep you for long. But let's start with our price boost, of course, for the duration of this live show. Don't worry, we'll keep it going for an extra 10 minutes. It's Twin Jets in the first race we're going to look at Sandown shortly. Harry Cobden, of course, riding against his boss, Paul Nicholls, in this race. Takes a ride on Twin Jets for Milton Harris. He's 2-1 now for the next hour of this live show. Maximum stake, of 20 quid. And also, very quickly, just some breaking news from the Coral Racing Club today, and sort of tinged with sadness, but also a bit of optimism. We've had to retire Annie Mack today. She's been an absolute star for us, the mare, trained brilliantly by John Joe O'Neill and the team at Jackdaws. She had picked up a wind issue that could have been operated on, but it would have meant she'd have missed the Cheltenham Festival this year. That was her aim. We were going to retire her anyway at the end of the season. She's done more than enough to earn her place as a brood mare, so we look forward to following her next chapter of her career. But as I say, winner of 7 races, 120 grand. She's been a star for us, and she'll hand over the baton at Jackdaws Castle to Heyday Baby, the next Coral Racing Club mare that John Joe's got. So that's Annie Mack. But as I say, I'll leave you now with the guys, because we all want to hear what they're tipping over the next 2 days.
You do indeed. Short but sweet there. David Stevens broadcasting live from inside a Domino, perhaps. I'm not sure where you are there, but we've got him in the attic for 5 minutes. That's all we've got. So thank you, David, for that price boost for the duration of the show. Good evening to all our viewers at home. Helen Sheridan, Tom Leach, your shirt doesn't disappoint. Thank you, Tom. Yes, going for blood red this evening. The Quayside's livid. Chrome at 79 is livid. Plenty of people. Rob Dixon's got strong opinions about third time lucky. We'll be throwing that to Paul Kealy very shortly indeed, and quite a few people hoping that we can dig out another conflated on the DRF weekend at Leopardstown. So let's see who's going to be joining us, not from the studio this evening, but let's go to the man who is very comfortable joining us from home. It's Mr. Tom Segal.
Hey Ross, how you doing? Nice to see you.
Lovely to see you too, mate. Lovely to see you. Yeah, finally, Keels has taken a leaf out of your book and gone, sod this.
Where's Keels? Is he not next to you?
Well, like sending a squirrel to KP Nuts, we've sent Keels to the home of Guinness to go to Dublin.
Oh, this could get messy, couldn't it?
It could get messy. He's look at that. That's a really sad. That's a sad image, that isn't it? That is sad. Who's going to read that Racing Post upside down now? Who knows? But Paul Kealy is live from Dublin, hopefully.
Yeah, just about alive. Yeah. Nice trip over today. Early start. Had a little nap. Ready to go.
Lovely stuff. And have you been to the Guinness factory? I assume you're 10% of their annual profits. You're responsible for.
We did have a little detour and, we had a little stopover in the airport, to be honest, until the about 3 hours after we landed, but I finally got to the hotel and freshened up, and I'm ready for it.
Lovely stuff. Well, let's, without further ado, let's get stuck into it because we're 15 minutes in and we've not even looked at a race. So we've got Sandown, we've got Leopardstown. Like I said, it is one of those weekends where we could quite frankly spend all night going through the cards and maybe still not come out with a winner, given how competitive some of them are. But we're going to have a look at 5 at Sandown, then we're going to have a look at 5 at Leopardstown, and then we'll have a quick any other business at the end. But Sandown's 110 is coming up. The first race we're going to look at, Novices Handicap Hurdle, where Milton Harris has Twin Jets at 6-4. Twin Power is 4-1. Heaven Smart 5s. Hot Rod Lincoln at 5-1. I Shut That Door is 11-2. And Jens Georgie is 25-1. Outsider of the bunch. Price boost in this opener. 2-1 out from 13-8 for Twin Jets to win this 110. And like plenty of Milton Harris's keels, Twin Jets just keeps on winning. When they get rolling, these Milton runners, they can be hard to stop. And the only thing is, there's a huge weight swing with Twin Power now into a handicap.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he's won some Mickey Mouse races at odds on, hasn't he? So he's just been very, very well placed. It doesn't mean he can't win again, but he was 2-5, 2 starts ago, 3's on last time. And yeah, like you said, he's got to give a stone to Twin Power this time. So it ought to be closer. I've actually backed something else in the race. Had a couple of quid on Hot Rod Lincoln. Now, you couldn't fancy him at all on his last 2 runs. He was pulled up last time out, and he was only 5th the time before, beating a long way to Vega at Lingfield. But that first run at Lingfield, 4th to Knowsley Road, that's a good piece of form in the context of this race. Given an opening handicap mark of 110, and he had those 3 runs in the space of about 7 or 8 weeks just before Christmas. And he comes back after a short break with a tongue tie on in a handicap. And if he was to repeat that form, that first time out form, he'd have a massive chance of 110.
Okay then, that's the 110 at Sandown then tomorrow. Twin Jets is 6-4 favourites here, but yeah, plenty of these with huge potential. Any improvers in here for you, Tom?
I'm going to plead the 5th on this one, Ross. It's not a price-wise race, so I didn't really have a great look at this. Obviously, the Twin Jets is the one to beat. Massive Harry Cobden fan. Good to see him on it. I get Keels' line of form from Lingfield, but it's not a race I had a good look at, so I'm gonna leave this one to you guys, please.
Okay, there you go. So Tom Segal sitting this one out. In terms of everyone at home, I think someone said that Twin Jets was the banker of the weekend, but too many people are livid. Livid! That's been 10 minutes late, so I've lost it. Neil Francis, can I be livid too, or am I too late? Neil, you can be livid for the rest of the show. Please, knock yourself out. So, Paul, what are you going with in the 110?
Yeah, Hot Rod Lincoln.
Hot Rod Lincoln it is at 5-1 there. Okay, that's the 110 at Sandown. Moving on, the 145 at Sandown. Happy Dolos Day. He's got his own race now, hasn't he? 3 times a winner of this contest in the past 4 years, and they've named it after him. And he has turned up, unlike some people. But he's 11-4 favourite for this. Red Rookie 7-2, Frero Bamboo 6-1, third time lucky is 13-2, Fastbook 15-2, Claire Dene is 15-2, the Widowmaker 9-1, Kilteely Briggs is 20-1, the outsider of the bunch here. And yeah, Dolos, to be fair to him, he is an absolute Sandown specialist, although, well, I say a Sandown specialist, he's a this race specialist, but he's got an absolute blinder, Tom, in his last couple of starts. So you can see why, obviously, he's turned up for this race and why he's priced up as he is. He's up against a few interesting horses, though. Red Rookie might well have been 5th in last year's Arkle, which I think we've started to come around, that maybe is a bit better than we thought at the time. Third time Lucky's obviously very well handicapped. There's a couple of others in here, including Frero Bamboo, who's maybe got a few ideas about the game. But will this be Dolos' day again?
I think he's the one to beat, for sure. Yeah, it's shocking. By the way, it's shocking Paul Kealy didn't turn up to be next to you, isn't it? God,
I know.
Lazy devil.
I know.
No,
he's not going to get a race named after him after doing that, is he?
I think Dolos is the one to beat. But as you say, I think this is a really interesting race. I think there's plenty in there you can fancy. I think Keels is going to make a case for one at a big price. I quite like the one down the bottom, Fast Buck. I thought he was really, really impressive. He looked like he was right back to his best at Lingfield last time. Now, I know that was heavy ground, but the time was by far the best on the day. He's got old form, back form on good ground, good to soft ground. So I just thought he might make the running here. He might get away from them. I just thought he was in tremendous form the other day. If you look back to last year, he was giving weight to Amarillo Sky and Brave Siaska in a race at Ascot. He was third. He was beaten about 10 lengths, but he ran perfectly well. They're shot up in the weights. He's about 8 or 9 pounds lower. I thought he was just thought the track might suit him. If Jamie Moore got him to a rhythm out front, like Sandown for front runners, I thought he could go really well at a price, fast buck. So he'd be my choice. But as you say, it's wide. I don't really fancy Ferrero Bamboo on 2 miles on this ground myself. So he'd be the one I'd be against. But yeah, I like fast buck.
Okay, fast buck then, who's coming in off what looks like a very workable handicap mark and bounced back to form in no uncertain terms last time out at Lingfield, which is always the worry in the back of my mind, Keels. How many horses do we see look impressive in background at Lingfield and then don't back it up elsewhere? But are you in the Dolos fan club, or are you looking elsewhere as well?
I'm a massive fan of Dolos, yeah. I mean, he's running the race 5 times, never been out the first 2, won 3 of them. You know, he was only just beaten off a mark of 158 a couple of years ago, and he's, 146 now, which is just £3 higher than last year when he won it easy. You know, he's definitely the one to beat, but you know, from pure handicapping terms, Third Time Lucky is now absolutely lobbed in, and he's actually finally running in a race he can win. Looking at what he's done this season, I think he's running 3 races that he couldn't possibly win. We all know that he is a notorious short runner. He barely gets 2 miles. So he starts off in the Horgan Gold Cup over nearly 2 mile 2 furlong. No chance whatsoever. What he was doing his favourite that day, God only knows. But that was a mark of 153. Again, well beaten at Ascot over 2 mile 1. Had wind surgery. Comes out last time out at Warwick on bottomless ground, which he hates. And he's finished third. He's been 19 lengths by Haddock's Des Obeau. But he might be going to the Arkle. He was giving him £12. He was clear second best in the race until turning for home when he predictably got knackered in the ground, and the runner-up just caught him, galloped the Chas, who's come out and won himself next time. And he's dropped £10 this season. His 3 wins over fences last year were all on good ground. It's not going to be far off that. He was actually favourite in a novice chase last year, Grade 1 novice chase last year against Edwardstone. Went too fast at this track, actually went from the front, which is the wrong thing to do. Was only beaten 4 lengths by Edwardstone at Warwick, and he's got, you know, he's running now off a mark of 143. What he needs is a good gallop, decent ground, and he's going to get a good gallop as well. He's got decent ground. He's got a really, really good handicap mark. He's, you know, given a clear round, he's going to look like the winner going to the second last. Whether he'll get up the hill or not, I don't know. But he's, you know, this is 120 yards short of 2 mile. I think he's got a massive chance.
Okay, Third Time Lucky then, 13-2 shot here. Yeah, I mean, you're right about the handicap. Last time he raced off this Mark Keels was over hurdles, where he finished 6th at Cheltenham in the county, of course, and ahead of him were Edwardstone and Belfast Banter, who both obviously won Grade 1s, and Milkwood, who won a Grade 2. So you're right, this is an easier race, isn't it? I mean, Rob Dixon on the chat at home was waiting for someone to tip it up, and Off-World also agrees. Oh God, Third Time Lucky, but these horses, they have their level, Keels.
They do, yeah. Every horse has its level, and I think, you know, he's one of those horses. He always looks like he's a lot better than his level. But having dropped £10 this season, he's probably found it. Yeah,
he's one of those classic. He's like a footballer that scores 20 in the Championship, gets signed by a Premier League team, and doesn't quite make it. So Keels is going for Third Time Lucky, and Tom, you are going for.
Yeah, I like Fast Buck down the bottom. Yeah, he actually thrashed that horse Keels was talking about, Galop des Champs, at Lingfield last time. If he handles the better ground, and he should do, I think he's got a good chance.
Okay, there you go. 2 against the field then in the Dolos handicap. Of course, Dolos is also livid now that everyone has gone against him for that 145. Moving on then to our first Grade 1 contest, or at least in this preview, that is the Scilly Novices Chase, Grade 1, 2.5 miles here at Sandown. And while we've got Irish racing left, right and centre, we've got an Irish raider here, favourite for the Scilly Isles, and that is Jerry Colombe, who is 5-4 favourite ahead of Balco Coastal at 3-1. Monmiral is 4-1, Thunder Rock is 9-2, and Bound to Greatness is 50-1. So just a small field here for the Scilly Isles, but interesting that Gordon Elliott has sent this one over. Of course, Mighty Potter would have a big chance in a similar event at Leopardstown over the weekend. But 5-4 here for this horse, who, to be fair, is a fantastic jumper. Won a Grade 1 last time out, and with an RPR of 155 last time, sets a very high standard for the others to hit, Tom. But you're slightly concerned. You're certainly not particularly keen about the price, and the main worry I had was he keeps jumping well out of incredibly deep ground, but it's going to be a very different test at Sandown.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, he was 4 to 5, or he was odds on earlier in the week, wasn't he? So he's drifting quite markedly. It's just a ground thing, isn't it? I think Gordon Elliott earlier in the week was on record as saying he was coming over for the bottomless heavy ground at Sandown. He loves it like that. Well, he's not going to get that at all. I mean, the ground on the chase course can be nearer good than heavy, or it's nowhere near heavy on for tomorrow. So whether he has conditions, look, he still might be good enough. He's clearly a very classy horse. He's the unbeaten. And he looked really good at Limerick. It was a grade 1 last time. But I think he's up against some of our best novice chasers. I really do. I think Balco, Coastal and Thunder Rock, in particular, are very near the top of our novice chasers this year. If they get wiped out by Jerry Colombo on good ground at Sandown tomorrow, I think we're going to struggle because I was so impressed with Balco, Coastal at Kempton the other day. I thought he jumped brilliantly and beat Solo, hollow. He's always been sort of a bit of a talking horse, and I've always thought he was a bit of a wimp, really. But he didn't look like that at Kempton. I think the track here might suit him a little bit better than Thunder Rock. So I'm prepared to chance Balco Coastal here in this race. I do like Thunder Rock. I'm desperate for him to go up to 3 miles. I think he'll be a so much better horse at 3 miles. All he does is stay. I was at Ascot when he won his novice chase 2 starts ago, and he was just really good. He was really impressive, did everything right, and won a competitive. It was only a small field, but he won it really easily. And last time he just never got into a rhythm behind the real whacker. I think he's a lot better than he showed that day. He would have been past Monmoral in another 10 yards or so, and I think he'll go really well. But I'm Balco Coastal here. I think he'll beat Jerry Colombo.
Okay. I was always a bit concerned about the track for Balco Coastal. I thought he might end up being a bit of a sharp flat track bully, but he looked the real deal last time out. Jerry Colombo is 5 to 4. In terms of the Thunder Rock and Monmoral form, of course, the Dipper, 6 horses have won this since coming from the Dipper in the last 20 years from only 16 representatives, and it'd be interesting to see how that form works out, because you've got Monmoral and Thunder Rock. Thunder Rock probably given a bit too much to do behind the real whacker, but that form looks strong, Keels. It'll be interesting to see how it stands up tomorrow.
Yeah, it does look strong, and you could easily make a case for Monmoral confirming it with Thunder Rock. Only problem is with him, I think he wants the ground a bit easier. We can say the same about Jerry Colombo as well. Obviously, I mean, the funny thing is, Gordon Elliott's quoted as saying something like the National Hunt chase should suit him at Cheltenham if the ground is soft. And now he's running a mile and 2 furlongs shorter on what will be borderline good ground at Sandown. They were watering the back straight earlier in the week, so it's going to be quick enough. I agree with Tom overall. I thought Balco Coastal could be the one. And I just sort of preferred Thunder Rock over Monmoral. I'm going to get stuck into opposing Jerry Colombo.
Okay. The only thing I would say, if you do look at the winners of this race, they do tend to be 3-milers. Your Long Presse, Itchy Feet, your Bristol Demise, Sporting John. So I know what you mean. It is 2.5 miles, but it's tend to go to stayers.
Yeah, but it's all raised 2.5 miles at Sandown in February, and the ground is nearly always bottomless, isn't it? And it just isn't this year.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah, it's just interesting. I know you look at it, you think, oh, surely he's not going to speed for this, and then you look at the actual horses that end up winning this, and you're thinking, oh, speed is the last thing you need. But Jerry Colombo is 5 to 4. People at home thinking we've gone mad and thinking that Jerry Colombo wins easily. It says Kanzuk 1. Sea Dog thinks Jerry Colombo absolutely bolts up as well. Rob Dixon thinks Thunder Rock might be having an Ultima warm-up. And Nick Palfrey says Thunder Rock hated Cheltenham. Okay, so the Scilly Owls tomorrow, then Grade 1 contest. It might well be a bit more open than it looks. In the betting, Tom Segal is opposing the favourite with?
Yeah, I think Balco Coastal might win tomorrow.
Okay, Balco Coastal it is, who's a 3 to 1 shot. And Keels?
Yeah, me too.
Okay, there you go. A bit of a Balco Coastal bet for you then. Paul Nicholls to win any 2 of the 110, 145 and 220 at Sandown. 6 to 1 out from 5 to 1 is a price boost for you, including this race. He had a couple of big winners last weekend, of course, Paul Nicholls, and I'll be hoping for that to continue. Just the 16 runners, though, for Paul Nicholls, which is, 28 for Elliott, 45 for Mullins. Oh, he's barely bothering on the Saturday, isn't he? But there's a price boost for you if you fancy Monmoral, maybe to win the Scilly Isles. Moving on then to the 255 at Sandown. It's an absolutely cracking handicap hurdle. This is a proper race, 3 miles the distance and 11 to 2 the favourite here, which is telling you how competitive this contest is. But I started to go through this race and I thought, yeah, that'd have a chance. Oh, I quite fancy that. That's a big price. And 15 runners, and I think I've ruled out about 5 of them. But Remastered is the favourite for David Piper, 11-2, back over hurdles. Been mixing codes in very good form recently. Flight Deck is 13-2, Green Book 13-2, Jet of Magic 7s, Call Me Lord 8-1, Stellar Magic 9s, 11-1 Cookelico, and Party Business. And then it's bigger the rest. But the informed Storm Nelsons have a squeak. Dolphin Square, of course, who won here a couple of starts ago. Bothwell Bridge down the field as well, interests me a little bit. Has had an absolute nightmare, but comes back to Sandown. The last time he actually completed a race back over hurdles. Keels, this has got your name written all over it.
Yeah, I must admit, I did find it really hard. I mean, Remastered was a bigger price earlier in the week. I don't, he has to be of interest. It makes perfect sense for them to put him back over hurdles, given that he's probably Grand National bound, and he won so well at Kempton last time over fences. Obviously second in the Coral Gold Cup as well, and also hacked up first time out this season at Aintree over hurdles. His handicap mark over hurdles is £10 lower than he is over fences, so he's got to have a massive chance. I think he'll run well. Again, you could make cases for loads of them. Green Book won the race last year. I was bitterly disappointed with him first time out at Chepstow, but there seems to have been plenty of money for him for this race because he was more than double the price he is now earlier in the week. And Storm Nelson's very interesting for Sandy Thompson. Very, very rare runner at Sandown. I think he's only run 3 horses at Sandown in his life. One of them won the big Veterans Chase a couple of years ago. And obviously he's a winner, Storm Nelson. That's what he is. He won 6 out of his 13 hurdle starts, won both of them easily this season. A little bit worried whether the ground will be a bit on the quick side for him, but it is always softer on the hurdles course. If I was going to have a bet now, I mean, I have backed Remastered, but if I was going to have a bet now, I'd probably take a little chance on Storm Nelson.
Okay, Remastered is 11-2 then. Storm Nelson, if our producers could just switch to the next beat.
14s.
14s, there you go. Thank you, Paul Kealy, a jack of all trades. But even better, actually, not being in the studio, Keels. I'll take it all back. Don't bother next time. Beautiful work, absolutely beautiful work. Remastered is 11-2 favourite here, but yeah, this is an absolute cracker. We obviously had a similar race like this a few weeks ago, Tom, didn't we? Where Call Me Lord did me a big favour in mistaking the winning post and letting Dolphin Square get back up. But interesting that Ben Bromley's back in the saddle for a bit of retribution there. But yeah, there's plenty of interesting horses. Green Book, of course. Party Business as well. I mean, on good ground, this horse is a quality animal. This is tough. Yeah,
I'm like you. I thought that I ruled out about 3. I quite like Party Business. If he'd had a run, I'd be very sweet on Party Business. I went back and watched his run in the Martin Pipe last time. Oh my God, I didn't realise how unlucky he was. Nearly got brought down at the first and was stone last. Nearly got brought down about 4 out. Was knocked out of his stride again, and he still flew home to finish 5th. Went on to Aintree. I think he was up to 3 miles there, was he? And he won easily. The pair, the JP McManus horse and him were well clear. He's got quality form. He was cantering alongside Stage Star in the Challow and he fell over. So if I could be guaranteed he was cherry ripe for this and not getting ready for the per temps at Cheltenham, I would be keen on him. I think he's a classy horse. Interestingly, Charlie Todd does come down to ride him and doesn't go up to Musselburgh where they've got a fancied runner in the Edinburgh National, haven't they? The Williams team. So maybe Party Business is going to be fully ready for today. Because if he is, I think he's got a massive chance. What puts me off is the fact that he hasn't run since pulling up lame in the race on Swinton Day at Haydock. So I'd like to see the market before getting involved in him. As you say, you could go through the whole of the rest of the field and give them all chances. Green Book, Remastered. Flight Deck was incredibly impressive at Chepstow last time. Does he want it softer? Perhaps. Cockley Co is a mare I like. She stays really well like Sandown. Stellar Magic was back to form last time, wasn't he, behind Queen's Horse at Wincanton? So there's loads of them. There's loads of them you can find. I will probably wait and see what the market is with Party Business, and if he's a big drifter, I probably won't have a bet. But if there's any support for him or any signs of life with him in the market, he'd be my choice.
Okay. I mean, he might be getting ready for the attempts, but I mean, if he won this comfortably and went up £10, he won't be far off a stayer's hurdle level, would he? Quite frankly, given how open that race is.
Yeah, absolutely. He's a quality horse, isn't he? He's undoubtedly a quality horse. I just don't know his readiness for tomorrow. I mean, he might. It's almost worth as much as the Pertemps. In fact, he might even be worth more than the Pertemps. So there's no point in sort of, warming up for a race that's worth more, if this one's worth more. But I just have that in the back of my mind. In the past, he's needed a run to come on to hit his peak. He definitely did last year.
Okay, fair enough. Racing Demon Call Me the Lord. Helen Showden's with Remastered. Off-World says, isn't Remastered a chaser? Yes, he's pretty much does whatever you throw at him. And Gavin Pryor says, party business for the shrewd Mr. Williams as well. So party business also for Tom. And you've got 2 Keels?
Yeah, back Remastered, and I quite like the chances of Storm Nelson.
Okay, there you go. A couple against the field there for that 255 at Sandown. Just going to check. It's 4 places on offer. 4 places on offer from Coral there. Who needs you, David Stevens? There you go. Job done. 3:30 at Sandown. Last one we're going to be looking at from the Esher track on Saturday is a handicap chase here over 3 miles where Bangers and Cash is the 5-to-1 market leader here. Lascalin is 6-to-1. Rapper is 6-to-1 as well. Eva's Oscar at 15-2. Empire Steel 8-to-1. Castle Robin at 9-to-1. 10-to-1. Move the Chains and Broken Halo and bigger prices the rest here. Bangers and Cash heading the betting here. But you were saying about Sandy Thompson there, Paul, in the previous race. Thought Empire Steel looked like he might well have had this as a target for a while as well. He's an 8-to-1 shot, but the market leader is Bangers and Cash, who's in a winning run over fences for Ben Pauling and Keelan Woods, and fairly young and unexposed, and we don't quite know where his improvement's going to tail off.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, and obviously the stable's been going really well, and his strike rate with chasers this season is out of this world, isn't it? Something like 40%, isn't it? It's amazing. So yeah, he's got a big chance. I mean, of course, he's been well found in the market. He's fav, but it wouldn't surprise you at all. Earlier in the week, I backed Castle Robin. I thought he was a massive eye catcher first time out at Kelso when 4th to Sounds Russian. That form doesn't look too bad now with Sounds Russian going up a long way in the handicap since, given the way he's run. And he just went wrong very early at Cheltenham last time, went back down to favouritism in an amateurs race. He goes well fresh. I'm sure he'll win a big race. I've become interested in a couple of others at bigger prices as well. Larry has won twice here. And the times he's been beaten have been over too far. And Phlegmatic, who the drier the ground, the better his chance, and he's a big outsider. He shaped really well first start of the season over 2 mile 5 at Ascot. Ignore the last run. He wants decent ground, and I think he's going to run a big race at a big price.
Okay, a couple of opinions there from Paul Kealy, but another wide open handicap here. Tom, anything caught your eye at juicy prices? To be fair, they're all fairly juicy prices for this 3 mile chase.
I like the top one. I like Empire Steel, actually. I just think he might be a class above these. I know people will say he wants heavy ground. He got beaten at Haydock last year by Strictly a Dancer on similar type of ground. I think it's to what it will be tomorrow at Sandown. I just think he's classy. I think he's got plenty going for him. I know Sandy Thompson wants to get him in the Grand National. Might have to go up a couple of pounds to get in there. I just think he might be a little bit better than these. I am slightly concerned about the ground, but not overly. I think he'll be fine on it. Didn't really like Bangers and Cash. He's just, look, I get he's in form. He's running well, but I just thought he's one of those horses who's been running in lower grades going up the weights. Now he's running in a better grade, and he's could be at the peak of his weight. So I was against him really. Eva's Oscar can run well. He was impressive at Cheltenham last time. Tim Vaughan, quite a good record with his chasers around Sandown. They tend to run well there. And the other one was Keels' one, Castle Robin. I just thought he might get into a rhythm out front. He's a front runner that jumps well. Sandown should suit him. Ground will be right. Lots in his favour. And you can't not mention Paul Nicholls' horse, because Nicholls won all 3 handicaps at Cheltenham last weekend on trials day, didn't he? And Broken Halo, I'm sure he could have run loads in this. On his form at Chepstow last year, where he was in and around Pat's Fancy and Jericho Roque, that would give him a chance. So there's plenty. My preferred choice is Empire Steel. I also like Castle Run, but there's loads you can make a case for in this race.
Yeah, there is indeed. Yeah, slightly edging towards Castle Robin, but it's one of those ones. I thought he was not certainty last time out, but I was like, this horse cannot run badly in that Cheltenham race, and obviously some things do go wrong. But it's been 84 days since then, and I do think Castle Robin's got a bit of improvement off that mark of 134, but you can say that about quite a few of them. Keels, just reiterate your picks.
Castle Robin's right back to the end of the week, but I think Phlegmatic will run a race at a big price.
Okay, and Tom?
Empire Steel and Castle Robin for me.
Okay, there you go. Off Wheel says Bangers and Cash win only, and Tom Leach is going with a Rapper each way for that 3:30 at Sandown. Let's go over to Leopardstown then, where Keels is way ahead of us already, ready and raring to go in Dublin. And got to be up early tomorrow, but I'm sure you've been going through the cards already. And we've, like I said, we've got an absolutely cracking weekend at Leopardstown. And the first race we're going to look at does not have a Willie Mullins favourite, which is a fair old rarity. Like I said, 45 horses Willie Mullins will be running over the course of the weekend. But Barry Connell's got a couple of very nice types. Marine Nationale, of course, and he's got Good Land, who steps up in grade and is 9-4 favourite for the 120 at Leopardstown on Saturday. We've all been caught. It's 4-1. Cader Parry is 5-1. American Mike 13-2. Sander Kilgane is 13-2. Grange Clare West is 7-1. Absolute Notions 11s. Deep Cave is 20s, and Cool Survivor is the outsider of the bunch. Last 4 winners of this race have all gone on and finished second in Grade 1 company at the Cheltenham Festival, so it's normally a very strong race. Tom, the tough one about tomorrow, of course, is that this is the race we need to sort out the wheat from the chaff, because even all the way down to Deep Cave and Absolute Notions, those novice and maiden hurdle runs aren't too bad, really. So, but Good Land has been heavily backed here, and like I said, Barry Connell's got a good line with his novices this year.
Yeah, I mean, they're all about the same, aren't they? I mean, most of them have just won maiden hurdles, haven't they, or novice hurdle? Not many of them have been out and running graded races, so quite why Deep Cave is 20-1 and Good Land's 9-4, and we've all been caught for. There's not much between. Cader Parry seems to me to have the worst form of the lot of them, but he's 5-1 on the basis that he's Willie Mullins and Paul Townend's choice. But I thought this was really hard. American Mike, if he could bounce back to his best, would have a chance. Sander Kilgane, I think, will go well as well. I know they're talking. They're quite sweet on him winning the Albert Bartlett. If he's going to win that, then he'll have to go well here. He latest exhibition nearly won the Albert Bartlett for Paul Nolan, having won this race. Whether he's quick enough round here, I think he probably will be. He'd be my choice, Sander Kilgane, in this race, just simply because I know that he stays, and I know that he's been primed for this and then Cheltenham. So him and Good Land would be my two against the field, but I think it's really hard.
Okay, Sander Kilgane then is a 13-2 shot, and despite his name, he's not a hound, which is a joke for the 5 people who can remember that character from Game of Thrones. Keels, the 120 at Leopardstown tomorrow, absolute cracker. Here, Good Land is 9-4. We've all been caught for him being given a boost, and it'd be nice to see, for you to go over and cheer home a British winner, wouldn't it?
Yeah. We can't exactly have the Presbury Cup here, can we? You know what I mean? I think we've got 3 runners at the whole meeting, and I really want him to win because Nigel Twiston-Davies has got off his arse and sent a horse over there. Yeah. And I don't understand why the British trainers don't do it. I mean, also always too close to Cheltenham and whatever. It's 6 weeks away, for God's sake. I mean, horses on the flat go to Paris for the Arc, and then they go to America for the Breeders' Cup within 4 weeks. So why can't they do this? So I hope he wins. His form's pretty good. It was a 66-1 shot he beat last time, but that just turned out to be Rock My Way, who has a low-profile trainer, shall we say, and wouldn't have been 66-1 otherwise, because he actually has some very good point form, finishing third to what is now the current champion bumper favourite before winning one. So I think his form is good. He's a big horse. He probably wants the ground softer than it is. That'd be a bit of a worry. There are a couple of races at this meeting tomorrow where I don't quite understand why the market features a short-priced favourite, because nothing has shown that much. Good Land was a very easy winner last time, but the runner-up was beaten 25 lengths the next time, so the form isn't standout at all. Cader Parry, I mean, Paul Townend has chosen him over Grange Clare West. He's chosen the horse with arguably the worst form over the horse with arguably the best form. That could be a tip in itself. They were disappointed with him first time out because he was long odds on and he made a right meal of winning. So hopefully the trip will work for him. But, I haven't got a strong opinion. I just want Nigel Twiston-Davies and Sam Twiston-Davies to come up trumps. We've all been caught.
No, you're not the only one. As Helen Sheridan's got a Kevin Keegan voice on and said, I would love it if We've All Been Caught could win this. So good luck to you, Helen. But Goodland has been heavily backed, is 94. But Tom, you are taking the favourite on with?
Well, I won't have a bet, but I'd like to see Sander Clegane win because I think he's got a good chance of winning the Albert Bartlett.
Okay. And Keels?
Yeah, I'm cheerleading for the Twisters. We've all been caught.
Okay, there you go. Yeah, and like I said, it's latest exhibition, and Commander of Fleet both went to the Albert Bartlett after this and just got chinned. So it should sort out what is a genuine Group Grade 1 horse in that 120 at Leopardstown. The 155 at Leopardstown is a juvenile hurdle here, where I think we've already seen a Grade 1 horse, haven't we? Lossiemouth is 1-3 to go in again. Galamarceau is 7-2 to turn around the tables. Gust of Wind 12-1. Tick Out 14s. Ascending 25. Sincer 33s. Jour de Fête is 100-1. Darabi at 150-1 is the outsider of the bunch here, Keels. And Lossiemouth is a big scopy horse, now 3 from 3, really impressive last time out, and probably should win this. But you start to get down the field, and there are a lot of horses who, quite frankly, in racing terminology, could be anything.
Yeah, you always get this with juvenile herders, don't you? There could be anything. Most of the time is end up not very much, and I think she's already shown that she's very, very good, and she's done it. First time out for Willie Mullins, she did it. She got there at the last and jumped really, really well. And then last time out, there were no hurdles in the straight, and she took it up a long way from home and proved that she can deal with a long running as well. She's actually £3 better off with Galamarceau as well, having already thumped to 7.5 lengths. So move on. I think she'll win.
Okay, Lossiemouth then is a 1-3 shot here for the 155. Like you said, there are plenty of interesting ones. They probably won't be ready to beat Lossiemouth tomorrow, Tom. But since there's only got 12 lengths on that Auteuil run, I thought that could be interesting at 33s. But do you think the favourite's a quote-unquote certainty?
Probably. I think Galamarceau is entitled to get a bit closer this time, isn't it? On the back of her first run, that was her first effort for Willie Mullins last time. But I think Lossiemouth one with loads in hand, I think she'll win.
Okay, and 1-3 then is Lossiemouth. Do you think she'll win the Triumph as well?
Yeah, probably.
Okay, fair enough. Well said, Segal.
You don't care all that much there, Tom.
No, it's fair enough.
I don't want to get in trouble because I said it was all boring last week when Willie Mullins. He's got, what is he, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them. And then one of them has never run. The other one has never run before. So, it's just, if they were all spread around different trainers, we could have a proper opinion on the race, couldn't we?
Yeah, we could indeed. But it might well be a bit more of a dance routine than the horse race tomorrow, I think. Off-World says, run this race at Mullins' yard. Yeah, why bother? Why go to Leopardstown for the 155 at the juvenile hurdle at Leopardstown on Saturday? Move on then to the 230, where we have a bit more of a competitive event. But we do have another Mullins battalion lining up for the Irish Arkle. Appreciate It is 7-4 favourite here. Dysart Dynamo 9-4. Banbridge is 6-1. El Fabiolo is 6-1. Samoir is 12's. Phil Dorr is 16's. Flamebearer 16's. Visionarian 33-1 outsider of the bunch. And this is a proper horse race. 8 of them lining up here for the Irish Arkle, and form lines a plenty here. Even Flamebearer is a solid 150 horse and is a 16-1 pretty much outsider of the bunch, because you've got Appreciate. Of course, there's only one defeat came in Champion Hurdle Company. Dysart Dynamo, who either looks like the best horse in the world, or looks like he should be running around on his own. Banbridge, of course, who's got that 2.5 mile form in the Mix and Cheltenham Festival form. El Fabiolo, of course, who gave John Bonafide at Aintree. It's an absolute corker, this, Tom.
Yeah, brilliant race, isn't it? I know I've just moaned about Willie Mullins. It's great that they're all running, aren't they? Because, literally, it could be better than the Arkle at Cheltenham, this, couldn't it? Because apart from John Bon, all those Willie Mullins horses won't turn up. They'll all split, or they'll all be found to be not quite good enough. So, It could easily be. It's just a fascinating race. I'm slightly surprised. I mean, well, when I say I'm slightly surprised, I'm not surprised at all, really. Paul Tanner chose to appreciate it. On my visuals and on my sort of reading of how they've done over fences, I wouldn't have chosen him, but I don't see appreciate it every day, do I? So they'll know what they're doing. But for me, he just looks like he wants to go up in trip. To me, it looks like he's crying out for 3 miles. I read a piece by his owner in the Racing Post yesterday or today, saying that he hopes Appreciate It might one day win the Gold Cup. Well, he's 9 now. He's going to have to get on with it, and if he's going to run in the Gold Cup, it's going to. He won't be going there next year if he runs in the Arkle, if wins the Arkle and the Arkle at Cheltenham, will he? I doubt. So I don't know. I thought he wanted to go up in trip. I much preferred Dysart Dynamo on their chase debuts. I thought Dysart Dynamo jumped brilliantly when he won round here. The time wasn't in the end that good, but I did the sectionals on the race, and he was quicker for a good part of it through the middle of the race than Blue Lord was, and then slowed down at the finish because he was about a fence ahead of everything else. So I thought he was really impressive. I like him as a horse, but for this race, I thought Banbridge was interesting, just simply because on that Cheltenham form, when he beat Tommy Zosker, we saw what Tommy Zosker did to Boot Hill at Doncaster last week. We saw how Boot Hill didn't give John Bonner fright, but he was upsides him jumping the last at Sandown, or close to him jumping the last at Sandown. So I thought that got a big boost Banbridge's form. I think the ground will suit. I think he jumps as well as anything in the race. What's not to like? He's going to stay. They're going to go really hard. He'll just be finishing. I think his chase form is probably the best on offer by some way as well. So he'd be for me Banbridge at 6-1 tomorrow, I think.
Yeah, Banbridge at 6-1. Yeah, I've had a little bet on him for the Arkle. He looks like one of those classic Arkle horses of, you need a 2.5 miler to win the Arkle. He's got Cheltenham Festival form. He's unbeaten at the track. The ground should be absolutely spot on for him. And I thought he ran a cracker at Fairyhouse last time out. He just didn't stay as well as the two in front of him. So yeah, I think he's very interesting at 6-1. Of course, he is up against a lot of classy horses. Dysart Dynamo, as Tom has just said. The only thing about horses like Dysart Dynamo, Keels, is they're obviously incredible. They've got fantastic ability, but to hold on and to utilise and to get the best out of that ability in Grade 1 company against the best of your fellow novice chasers can be a little bit difficult, because it's all well and good going out and outclassing a 4 or 5 run a field, but you get the feeling with Dysart Dynamo, he has to get into that perfect rhythm or it's nothing.
Well, yeah, I mean, mind you, Willie Wanners hasn't done bad with 3 going front runners at 2 miles, has he? You know what I mean? So, he could be one of them. But the thing about this race is you really, really do not know, because 4 of the Mullins horses, all they've done is win by wide margins at monster odds on against horses with zero interest in getting anywhere near them. So they're actually in a race this time. We will find out. 1 or 2 of them's jumping will go, but it's anyone's guess whose. Again, this is a race I wouldn't have had. I know Appreciate has only been beaten once in the last God knows how long, but I just wouldn't have had this race with a 7-4 favourite, and I just think he's too short, no matter whether Paul Townend's chosen him or not. I'm like Tom and you with Banbridge, and my only problem is I'm half hoping he's a bit too slow for this, because I backed him for the Turners. But one of the other horses I backed ante-post for the Turners was John Bond, so it shows what I know. They could end up first and second in the Arkle, couldn't they? He's, that run at Cheltenham was very good. The time was good. He jumps really well. He likes Cheltenham, and the Fairyhouse run, he just doesn't want soft ground. He is a proper good ground horse, and Leopardstown in February, the ground tends to be fairly decent, doesn't it? They've been watering as well, I think. So I think he's going to run a big race. Whether he's quite quick enough, I'll be happy enough if he is, because I've backed him, but I'll also be fairly happy if he's running on and they say, right, it's the Turners for him. But it's a fascinating race. There's horses with serious ability here. Flame Bearer could also be very, very good, and it's just looking at it, 16-1. You think, why is that horse 16-1? It's a very good race.
It is indeed, yeah. You've got complete hodgepodge of ages as well, haven't you? Like I said, Appreciate it's 9 years old. You've got Phil Dorr, who's a top class horse and is a 5-year-old of offences here for the Elliott team. So it's an absolute cracker. Everyone at home has various opinions, as you would expect. Off-World think Appreciates it bolts up. Banbridge for Joan Worley, and Chris is even having a tickle on Visionarian each way, the outsider of the bunch, who I mean, to be fair, he's rated 149, so it's hardly a back number. So it could be an absolute cracker for the Irish Arkle. But in terms of what's going to win it on Saturday, what's the value, Tom?
Well, I think the value is Banbridge. I am very interested in Dysart Dynamo, though, as a horse. I was just so taken by the way he jumped on his debut. I think if he gets out front and in the same sort of rhythm, it'll take a good one to get past him.
Okay. And Keels?
I've backed Banbridge as well, yeah.
Okay, there we go. Well, yeah, hopefully Banbridge can at least show up well in that 2:30 at Leopardstown. And fingers crossed, go on to glory at Cheltenham. Two more to properly preview at Leopardstown. Then going on to the Irish Gold Cup, where Galloping de Champs is 1-3 here. 9-2 is Statler. Kemboy is 10-1. 20-1 Fury Road. 33-1 any second now. The big dog 40-1 Franco de Port is a 50-1 outsider here. And a price piece for Lossiemouth and Galloping de Champs to win. Both win by over 6 lengths. 11-4 out from 9-4. Galloping de Champs then. I mean, it's weird, isn't it, Tom, that a horse with this much ability and this much quality, the most memorable performance by Galloping de Champs was the one where he didn't actually win. But he's rated 175 after his last 2 Grade 1 victories. I'm not suggesting we're going to back him at 1-3 tomorrow, but what are we expecting from him?
Yeah, well, he looks brilliant, doesn't he? He's I don't know. It's a tricky one, isn't it? Because I'm a massive fan of the horse, and I think 3 miles is not a problem. But unlike most, I wasn't that impressed with his. Willie Mullins and Paul Talon got up when he won the John Durkham, saying he was brilliant, he was jumping and all that. I was really disappointed with him for the first half mile over the first 4 fences. He definitely improved as the race went on, and the further he went, the better his jumping got. So I think he'll win. I think he'll win this easily. I mean, Statler, I don't think 3 miles round there on good ground. I don't think he'll be quick enough. Kemboy's just too old now to give him a race. Fury Road can't win. If there was 8 runners, I'd be mad keen on backing any second now each way, because I just think he's got tremendous form. He gave, let's not beat around the bush, in the Grand National, the two of him and Noble Yates were miles clear. He was giving him loads of weight. He's just a very good horse any second now, and I think, despite his advancing years, he might run into second tomorrow, but I wouldn't bank on it given there's only 7 runners. I just think Galloping de Champs will be too good for these. He's so classy, and I think 3 miles will suit him down to the ground, especially under those conditions that he's going to get at Leopardstown tomorrow.
Okay, there you go. Galloping de Champs is a 1-3 shot. Paul Kealy, have we got an Irish Gold Cup and a Cheltenham Gold Cup winner on our hands?
I think we've got an Irish Gold Cup winner. I'm going to hold back the opinion on a Gold Cup. I'd worry about him staying, to be honest, over 3 mile 2.5. One of the reasons is because he can jump very high. He did it first 4 fences at Cheltenham last year, really high, and that takes, you expend a fair bit of energy when you give fences lots of air, and he did get better, but you know he came down as well. You can land steeply when you jump high, so going up and down hills at Cheltenham, you know, might find him out again. He'll probably win this. You know, he has got the wow factor about him, hasn't he? You know, at the end of the day, he tied with Fakir Duderi. I think Fakir Duderi was way below form. I think the third in that race was so close. It tells you he was a long way below form. But no, he ought to be winning. Statler, yeah, like Tom said, I don't know whether he's quite quick enough. Although it was only 2 miles 6 furlong at Tremor last time when he nearly got to Manila Window giving him weight, so it wasn't a bad run. But yeah, no, he'll just win, won't he?
Okay, Galloping de Champs then is a 1-3 shot for the Irish Gold Cup tomorrow. One more race then to talk about at Leopardstown on Sunday. Of course, it's a big 2 days at Leopardstown, and we've got the Irish Champion Hurdle on Sunday as well, where the old guard take on the new Honeysuckle, beaten last time out at Fairyhouse, admittedly in a race that now looks, well, I mean, it still looked pretty good at the time despite the defeat, but it looks even better now. Stateman is 11-10 though, the favourite here. The 5-year-old Vauban is going to try and turn the form around at 7-2, and then, like I said, you know how good this race is because Pied Piper's a 33-1 shot. Zanahir's a 33-1 shot. Takarengo 200-1, having a nice day out in the Irish Champion Hurdle, Keels. But will it be a new name, a new kid on the block to finish second to Constitution Hill, or will Honeysuckle wrestle back that one in her form lines and put the doubters to bed, as it were?
Well, she's never going to put the doubters to bed, is she? I don't think.
Not. I mean, it's not now. I mean, now people still question if she's actually a decent horse after.
No, she's always been a very decent horse. No doubt about that. Official rating 165 probably overestimates her current ability, I would say, in Ireland. I don't think she's run to anywhere near that at all last season or first time out this season. But it still wasn't a bad run, and she's getting £7 from State Man, so he's got to up his game. I think by this time we'll be so sick and tired of Willie Mullins winning every race. Everybody will be willing her on anyway. I think I will. I probably won't have a bet in the race, but I hope she does it. And I think she can. She's definitely got the form to give him a fright.
Yeah, 7-4 then is Honeysuckle here. Vauban 7-2, State Man 11-10. Which side of the fence are you on, Tom? The up and comers or the ones who've been there, done that?
I'm worried about Vauban's jumping. I think he's just very sketchy. I think he's got tons of ability, Vauban. I certainly wouldn't rule him out getting close to these two. Just got to up his jumping. A little bit scrappy, wasn't he, behind State Man? I think State Man's probably going to win because I think he's going to probably Paul Tannell will probably take the ball by the horns and just go out front, and Honeysuckle will have to get past him. I don't know if she'll be able to do it, but I like Keels. I'd love Honeysuckle to win. I don't see why everyone's writing her off so quickly after that run in the Hatton's Grace. It was just heavy ground, wasn't it? It was heavy. Funny things happen in heavy ground, and you got beaten by Tihupu and Classical Dream, who were strong stayers. 2 out, you'd have called her the winner. I think she's got. I'd love to see her win. I'd love to see her win. I just think in these type of circumstances, nearly always the young horse gets the better of the horse, the old horse, and that's why I slightly prefer State Man. But like Keels, I want Honeysuckle to win. I think that would make the Dublin Racing Festival really. Yeah,
I mean, it's 2.5 miles in heavy ground against essentially 3-mile horses, Tom. I mean, I thought she went down fighting, really. I thought it was an absolutely cracking run. If it hadn't been for a stream of ones next to her name beforehand, people would have been saying that she ran up to form.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, she's run worse than that in the Hatton's Grace before, for sure. So, like you say, she ran perfectly fine there. It's just, I don't know, State Man might be better than the horses she's been beating over the years, perhaps.
Yeah, or at the very least, on the up, which is the key thing. It's not about necessarily being better over the course of the time. It's about being better on the day, isn't it? Yeah. State Man is 11-10 favourite then for the Irish Champion Hurdle, which is the last race we're going to properly preview over the course of the weekend. But it is an absolutely cracking weekend. If you are watching at home, please do like that stream on YouTube. It only takes one little click to feed the hungry algorithm. But a couple of things before we go. We're going to have a quick any other business because there's so much going on this weekend that if there is anything you're particularly excited about, boys, I want to know about it. So we'll start off with you, Tom. Is there anything else across this weekend that you're really keeping an eye on?
Well, I thought there was a couple of good races up at Musselburgh tomorrow, I thought. Found the Edinburgh National too hard, but the County Hurdle I thought was a cracker. Quijava, I thought, for Adrian Keatley, who won the Supreme Trial on the track over the course and distance last year. He won off about 80 on the flat at York this season. He's now, and then he came back and I had a warm up at Southall the other day for this race. Ran really well to be 5th, I think, staying on nicely at the end. He's got a good claimer taking £5 off him, Jack Hogan. I just thought he might be teed up for this race. He might go really well, but it's really competitive. You can make a case out for loads. Grievatina for Paul Nichols will be hard to beat in that. She's back to the form that saw her finish second to First Street in the what used to be called the Jerry Fielden.
Okay, so keep an eye on Quijava then at Musselburgh. And same question to you, Paul.
I'm looking at the handicaps. I've had bets in the 2 handicaps at Leopardstown tomorrow, starting at 340 with the race in which has probably annoyed a hell of a lot of ante-post punters. We've got Maxim as a 5-2 favourite, running off 138. He's got a mark of 145 in Britain, qualified for Bontemps. Is a warm favourite for that. I mean, if he turns this one into a procession, he'd probably get supplemented for the Stayers Hurdle and won't go there. But I quite like, we call him a second string or maybe even a third string, Sam's Choice of Gordon Elliott's. Just started to get the hang of things. Hit the bar quite a few times, but then got held up for the first time last time and won the same day that Maxim won. Not given not as easily as Maxim won, but then he only got hit with £7 rather than £18 rise. And he won going away, and I thought he did it really well. And they booked Dennis O'Regan, who's obviously very good with hold-up horses. So I think he'd run well against the Fab. In the 4:10, I backed two. One of them's the obvious one, A Wave of the Sea, who is going for his 4th consecutive win at the Dublin Racing Festival, having won the Spring Juvenile Hurdle and this race for the last 2 years. He's been running over further all season, just as he did last year, running in very similar races that he'd run in the year before. He's dropped back to a mark just £2 higher. His 2 wins in this race came under £5 claimers who were riding the horse for the first time. Now he's got a £7 claimer riding the horse for the first time. This has obviously been the plan. And, you know, he's certainly well enough handicapped to win it. There's one potential fly in the ointment at a big price, though, each way that I've backed. It's called Jody Ted. Now, he's a bit in and out, but he has won 3 of his last 7 races over the past year, 2 over hurdles, and then a chase in which he got a big Racing Post rating at Clonmel, and it worked out well. The 3rd won next time, the 4th finished 2nd in a 25k handicap at Leopardstown over Christmas. And if he runs to that level, he's been given an opening mark of 123. You know, if he runs to that level, he's going to go very, very, very close at least. The only problem with him is he hasn't done it on his last 2 starts, so it's a bit of a shot in the dark. But A Wave of the Sea and Jody Ted each way.
Okay, yeah, and interesting that Aidan Kelly, who rides A Wave of the Sea, warmed up with a winner for JP the other day in a Limerick handicap, so he's proven his worth to the owner, that's for sure. Okay, a few against the field then, and before we go, let's get the nap. So, Tom, what is your nap over the weekend coming up?
Kealy, I think, in Musselburgh would be my favourite one. Okay, Ross.
Kealy then in the Scottish County Hurdle, and Paul Kealy.
Tomorrow is 3rd time lucky day. The 145 at Sandown.
Okay, fair enough. I'm kind of with you in a way, just to prove those doubters wrong. What's your nap at home? Put it in the comments after the show. But we've got a bit of a funny one tonight with the Skype, so we're going to let you two go, gents, and then we're going to talk to David Stevenson, and then we're going to go and enjoy the weekend. In fact, just hearing my producer. What was that? Sorry. We're not going to talk to David. Fair enough. Never mind. Well, there you go. Well, let's end it with you two then, shall we? Tom, thanks ever so much. Hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you on Monday.
Do we? That's news to me, but yes, I'm happy to do whatever you want me on Monday. What am I doing on Monday?
Well, you're doing the first of the In the Know Cheltenham preview shows, my good man, where we, every Monday from next Monday up to the festival, we'll be looking at, 3 or 4 races on the evening, talking to a very special guest and getting the opinions of you and the fine Mr. Kealy, of course.
Right. Great. Can't wait.
There you go. I mean, you don't even need to do any work for it, Tom, because you've done it already. You just turn up and read out your columns, don't you?
Keels, did you know about this?
Yeah, unfortunately. We're going to be relying heavily on you, Tom, though, because obviously I'm at Dublin and we've got to do these morning shows, so I can't go out on it until Sunday night. So I'm going to be in a right state on Monday evening, especially flying over in the afternoon. So I hope you do all your homework, and I'm just going to copy whatever you say.
Perfect. Can't wait.
Lovely stuff. Well, as long as you actually bother to turn up to the studio, Keels, I'll accept you.
I'll make it.
What a sad sight. Anyway, that's it for In the Know tonight. Thanks ever so much. Hope you enjoy the weekend. It's going to be an absolute cracker. We'll see you back on Monday night to gear up for the Cheltenham Festival. Don't know if you've heard of it, but it's pretty good. Almost as good as the Dublin Racing Festival this weekend. Good luck. Good night. Have a good one.